Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel. So now here we are going to start a new series, a new lesson, a very important lesson, which is writing. Okay, writing is very important lesson because a lot of students find problems and have problems in writing. So this episode and the upcoming ones, we are going to make this skill, writing, easier for everyone. All right, now when we talk about writing, there are two very important questions that comes to our minds when we talk about writing. Question number one is what? Okay, writing what? Okay, so this is the first question that comes to our minds. Okay, writing what? Okay, so the first thing that students have to learn how to write is what we call paragraph. So writing what? Writing paragraph. Paragraph is the first thing that everybody has to learn to write, know how to write, because if you write a paragraph, if you can write a paragraph, you will not have any problem writing whatever. Okay, so paragraph is number one, the first thing that we have to learn how to write. Okay, question number two, and it is also very important for writing, is writing about what? Okay, about what? All right, so number one, writing what, and number two, writing about what. Okay, and the answer of this question, writing about what, has to do with what we call topic. Okay, so topic is very important because this is what we write about. So writing what? Writing paragraph. And writing about what? Writing about what? Writing about a certain topic. Okay, a certain topic. Topics, for example, can be like school, as an example. We can talk about, for instance, success, routine, or we can also talk about, for instance, health. Okay, we could also talk about, for instance, topic like smoking, for instance, etc. So these are all the examples of topics we can write about. Okay, so this means that we can write paragraph about, for example, school, or a paragraph about success, or a paragraph about routine, or a paragraph about health, about smoking, whatever. Okay, so we have to know, you have to understand the topic. Okay, you have to understand the topic you're writing about. Okay, writing about. Okay, so here we know the two questions. Now next we talk about some steps of writing, and the first step number one, is what we call brainstorming. Okay, so this is step number one. Okay, brainstorming. Okay, so we know what to write a paragraph, for example. We know to write about what. Okay, we know the topic. Now let's start with writing. So the first thing we have to do is to brainstorm. Okay, is to brainstorm. Now what is brainstorming? Is it good to know the topic and you go directly to writing paragraph? Okay, to writing a paragraph. That is not good. Okay, it's not good, especially for beginners. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do before paragraph, and this is number one, is brainstorming. What is brainstorming? Brainstorming is very simply to start with writing sentences. Okay, to write sentences. Okay, this is sentence number one, sentence number two, sentence number three, sentence number 4, 5, 6, 7, as many as you can. Okay, as many as you can. So these are sentences. We can call them sentences, or we can also consider them as ideas. So when you write sentences, sentence number 1, 2, etc., sentences about a topic, you can go to step number 2. Okay, step number 2, which is paragraph. Now we can talk about a paragraph. Okay, so a paragraph contains sentences. So in paragraph we can have sentences, but what kind of sentences? Just the sentences you write here, only these ones in brainstorming? For sure, no. The first thing that we have to do is to develop or to create or to write what we call topic sentence. Okay, what we call topic sentence. This is number 1. Okay, topic sentence. Okay, this is number 1. And topic sentence, as you can see, it is related to the topic. It is general. It is general. It is broad. And it is number 1. Okay, it is number 1. So this is topic sentence. Okay, topic sentence should not be very long. Okay, it should be short. Okay, this is number 1. Number two, it's what we call supporting sentences. So in number 1 we say sentence, it is only 1. In number 2, supporting sentences. Okay, sentences, it is plural, which means a lot. So here we have supporting. The importance of supporting sentences is to support, to explain, for instance, to define, to support. Okay, to define, to explain, to support what? Very simply, to support and define and explain the topic sentence. The topic sentence that has to do with the topic. In the upcoming episodes, we are going to go into details related to these things. Okay, all right, so this is number 2, sentences. So here we will have a lot of sentences. Okay, so as many sentences as you can. This is number 2. So when you write the topic, then you support. The last one is to conclude. Okay, is to conclude, and that has to do with what we call concluding sentence. So this is one sentence. Okay, to conclude. Okay, to conclude. Okay, the last sentence. All right, now this is the first thing that you have to keep in mind. Okay, to develop, number 1, to develop topic sentence. Okay, sentence related to the topic, and supporting sentences. And when we talk about supporting sentences are always these. Okay, are always these ones. Okay, so supporting sentences will always be the sentences you write in brainstorming. So the sentences you write in brainstorming are always the supporting sentences. Okay, the supporting sentences. When you write the supporting sentences, then you can develop the concluding sentence to close the paragraph, so to speak. Okay, all right. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is what we call linkers. Okay, is what we call linkers. So this is something very important to remember. Okay, so very simply, linkers always to link. Okay, to link, very simply, to link sentences. Okay, as I said, linkers, for example, can be like and, or, first, second. It can be finally, for instance, etc. Okay, so these are examples of linkers that we can use to link sentences. This is something that we will study in details in upcoming episodes. This is one. Another thing that you have to keep in mind and pay attention to is what we call repetition. Repetition is not good. Okay, is not good. So you have to pay attention not to repeat. Okay, not to repeat words or expressions. So repetition is not good. There are some ways to avoid repetition. This is something that we will see again in another episode. The last thing that I like you to remember or know is what we call COPs. Okay, so capitalization, organization, punctuation, and spelling. Again, this is something that we will see in another episode. So this is something that you have to respect when it comes to writing paragraph. Okay, linkers, use linkers. Repetition, repeating words is not good. And the last thing is what we call COPs. You have to respect COPs in writing whatever. All right, this is for a paragraph. So here, if I ask a question, a big question, what is a paragraph? A paragraph is very simply a group of sentences. So paragraph is a group of sentences. Okay, is a group of sentences. Now, is it possible to write a paragraph if you don't know how to write sentences? For sure, it is impossible. So the first thing you have to do is to learn how to write sentences. How to write sentences. If you can write sentences, that will be easier for you to write paragraph, to write whatever. But if you have problems in writing sentences, if you don't know what a sentence is, that will be difficult for you to write paragraph. In the next episode, we are going to start with sentences. How to write sentences. To make it easier for you to write sentences, okay? Because if you can't write sentences, you can't and you will never be able to write good paragraphs, okay? Alright, so this is all about today's episode, okay? So writing what? Number one, writing, the first thing that I have to learn is writing paragraph. Then, after that, writing about what? Writing about a topic. So you have to learn to know the topic, to understand the topic, and when you know your topic, you go to step number one, which is brainstorming. Write sentences, sentence number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 about the topic. Then you go to writing, to paragraph. You start with the topic sentence, supporting sentences, then concluding sentences. Here you have to link, okay? You have to link these sentences. Don't repeat words and expressions. Finally, you have to respect cops, okay? You have to respect cops. This is general, but we are going to see these in details in the upcoming episodes, okay? In the upcoming episodes, okay? So next episode, we are going to start with writing sentences. See you then. Have a good time and goodbye.